Welcome to the Amazingly Alcohol-Free Mother and Daughter podcast. I'm Jaime.
And I'm Jules.
And we're here to share our honest and unfiltered experience of how alcohol has impacted both of our lives and our relationship, and to show you that change is absolutely possible. Our whole lives, my mom, Jules, has always said, we can do anything because we're girls. And now we're not just saying it, we're actually living it every single freaking day. We believe in progress over perfection, and we are proof that we can do hard and often uncomfortable things. Hi, Jules. How's it going today?
Hi, Jaime. It's going good.
Good. What's going on with you? How'd you sleep last night? Because I know you talked about recently, I think it's last week's episode, about being 4 weeks not on Ambien. So how did you sleep? Is your sleep still getting better? Are you still having crazy dreams?
You know, the dreams have stopped all of a sudden. My sleep in general is a lot better since I quit, drinking. But, I've had this cough, since before Christmas, and it keeps me up most of the night,
Oh,
but
sucks.
it's getting better. So it's just one of those things. Everybody's sick, seems to be sick right now.
I know, right? And then last night, and by the way, I don't look very cute today, so I don't know if I'll be posting clips of me. I just got off the treadmill because what I really like to do, I've been doing this and I'm pretty proud of it. For a long time, I've been hard on myself when I don't get up at like 5 in the morning and do a workout, because I've read a lot of books about morning routines, and when I do it, I feel great. But with the kids, I have little kids, like it's really hard. So I've been actually putting on my calendar from 8:30 to 9:30 every day to do a workout. And I've been doing it most days and it's great. But I ran out of a little time this morning, but I just did a quick 20-minute run on the treadmill before this. Because when I have like a coaching call or something where I really need to show up and be like fresh, I try to get like some movement in. And sometimes it's just a quick walk or even just like doing jumping jacks. But it just made me feel better. So that's why I'm all sweaty right now. But I don't care, because we're in the Do Not Care Club, right? We don't care.
That's right.
It's fine. This is the real us. This is unfiltered, just us.
Definitely. This is the real us.
Yeah, but our power was out last night, or actually it started yesterday from 12:30 to 9:30 for some like some equipment failure or something like that. So we didn't have power for 9 hours.
Wow.
And it definitely made me like think about in the olden days when I was a drinker, how I would have wanted to drink the entire time. But instead, with the kids, we just have like the big lanterns out, and it's not really cold here in Seattle right now. So we just got snuggled up in bed, and it was actually pretty nice. So
Like camping, right?
yeah, glamping for sure, because we still were able to use a Wi-Fi hotspot and be on iPads and things like that. But also just made me appreciate, like, be grateful for what we have with the electricity, because a lot, a lot of
So
like
true.
countries in the world do not have electricity. So,
Remember
yeah,
you guys were all kids, young, and we lived in Bonnie Lake, and
yeah,
power would go out for a lot and sometimes for a long time. And we had that old wood stove. Then I'd put a pan on the wood stove and cook soup and stuff.
yeah,
We
it
make
was
it
so fun.
make it work, somehow. And with 4 kids at home, there's no way we can go out and grab something.
I know,
It's so
right?
expensive, even back then for us anyway. And so that's what we
Yeah.
used to do. And I thought it was an adventure anyway. The kids seemed to like it too. So
Yes, it is. It's fun. And I feel like too, since I quit drinking, I don't get so like irritated or annoyed. Like a lot of people would be like pissed at the power company because it took 9 hours. And then I'm like so grateful we actually have people helping us do this kind of stuff. And they're staying up all night long to help us.
that's right.
And then
True.
just really being like present, like whatever, it's fine. Like we're warm. We have blankets. Like it's not the end of the world. And like we had to throw some food away this morning, but like it's okay. It could be a lot worse. So it just made me like really appreciative. And I do like gratitude. Like in the dry January group, we're doing gratitude journal as one of our like daily sparkle habits. And I feel like it's just making me just really appreciate and have just such more of a positive mindset, and just giving me that abundance, right? Of like all this great stuff that's going on. And we're just really lucky to be here and even be on this podcast.
That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I kind of made sure, I guess, I can get by with any kind of those situations. One way
Yeah.
or another, we figure it out.
Yeah.
Todd and I lived in our trailer for 2 years, before we had the house built. We finished the house.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and up here in the woods, things happen like that. And, so it's just, you have to try to prepare as much as possible. And you can't make everything a tragedy. Or like,
Yeah.
it's so awful. Like you said,
Yeah.
it's just, I was just like, oh, we have lanterns and everything. So no problem.
And like use it as a time to slow down, maybe like do something. Cause yesterday I had plans, like I was in the middle of editing episode 5, which we released yesterday. And then all of a sudden power went out, and I had a plan to go on the Peloton before a call. And instead I went outside, went on a long walk, and then I came back, literally had a lantern because it's very gray here in Washington. during the day. So it's pretty dark in the kitchen at like 1 o'clock. And then I ended up doing my journaling and and read a book. It was actually really nice. And then I was able to take my confidence club call at the neighbor's house, which was amazing. I'm like, these are great neighbors.
Yeah, that's
So
nice.
yeah, I know. Oh, but I'm glad we're here. I was a little worried we couldn't do it. But today, we actually meant to talk about this last week, but once we start chatting, you never know what's going to come up on the pod, Jules.
It's so true.
So, Mom, Jules, I wanted to talk about traveling alcohol free. So, I guess you could say sober travel conversation today, which I'm excited about. So, I was thinking we could talk about what our vacations and you've spent a lot of time in Mexico, long periods of time. You guys
Mhm.
do that most years, where you spend a couple of months in a condo and just living your best life. But I wanted to talk about what travel or vacation was like for us when we were drinkers, and then maybe talk about what it's like now. And then you also have a really big trip coming up, and I know you're a little worried about it. So I thought we could talk about that and maybe just talk about some of the best tips and tricks that I have that I work with my clients on and share with, and also ones that I picked up from some other people like in the sober space too that have been really helpful for me on my own journey. What do you think about that?
Sounds good to me.
Awesome. I can kick it off on my head. So, Luke, who's my husband, and I have traveled a lot. We love travels. And we did a lot of travel before we had kiddos, and we still travel with them now. We always take them on trips at least a couple of a year. And I feel really lucky we're able to do that. And that's one of the things that we just like to really just kind of invest in is travel because it really does make us happy. So, for me, when I used to travel when I was a drinker, all of my travel really like revolved around drinking. Like, that's all I would want to do. Luke and I went to Europe for a couple weeks years and years ago before kids. I think it was in 2013. And the whole time I wanted to drink. Like, so we went to Amsterdam, we went to Munich, which was like, whoa, because I'm a beer drinker, ex beer drinker. And then we ended up going to Italy and then France. So we spent a lot of time there. And the entire time, all I wanted to do was drink. So did Luke. It was just like, I feel like everything we wanted to do was drinking. And when I look back at it, it's like, we did do we did a lot of the things, the tourist type things, but the whole time I just had this like itch and just like wanting to leave and go just like sit down in some bar, pub, and get some like charcuterie in Italy because a lot of the times they give you like I think it's can't remember the name, but they give you like always little snacks in Italy, and that's all I wanted to do. And looking back, I'm like, oh wow, we had a great time. Obviously, I would have felt so much better if I would have been alcohol free, and I think I really would have like really been able to soak in the culture. I probably would have done a lot more. I would have just really experience it and just more. I mean, do you resonate with that when you went on sober vacation? Or I mean, sorry, vacation where you were drinking?
Oh, yeah. There's so many plans revolved around drinking,
Mhm.
from just get off drink on the plane, of course, and get off,
Oh, I didn't even talk about that. Ooh,
you know,
yeah.
and the cab driver take you straight to Costco, load up on alcohol, different kinds of alcohol, and have them drive us back to the condo and get set up. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's another thing. I used to plan my pills for vacations to make sure I
Mhm.
had all my pills that I was taking at the time, the prescription pills, but still make
Mhm.
sure that, I had enough because it was vacation time. I mean, I couldn't run
Mhm.
out on vacation. So, everything was geared around with alcohol for sure in my pills. So,
But did you when you had your prescription pills, but you always took more than you're actually prescribed, right? Yeah. And so how did you make sure you had enough pills for your vacation? Did you just like how much time did you spend on mapping out how many pills you'd have for a
oh
vacation?
gosh. Oh, I would say by the time I talked to the doctor to get early refills, and then the pharmacy, having to explain everything to the pharmacy has to call back the doctor, and okay, the vacation refills, hours and hours,
Yeah.
really.
Oh my gosh. It's so much energy and mental gymnastics around how we prepare for vacation when we are wanting alcohol or pills or whatever it may be. It's incredible. Like when we could actually be doing things that are like, let's actually plan some excursions. Let's like do some research. Maybe we could spend some time learning a little bit of the language. Like there's so much
Yeah,
more that we could
exactly.
do, right?
Uh-huh.
It's crazy. And I want to go back to the airport because I'm a nervous flyer. I'm actually going on a flight tomorrow to Florida and it's like, ugh, I just don't wanna do it. Like, I just don't like it. Takeoff is the worst for me. I'm usually fine after that. So I would drink a lot. So Luke and I would just go 7 AM, be at SeaTac Airport, and just get several of those huge ass beers, and that was like the first thing that we always did before any trip. We still do, go to Mexico a lot. So we'd always do that. And then we'd be drinking the entire way on the plane. and I'd just be, like, so buzzed and, like, so which really helped me with, like, my nerves because I would just numb out and really wasn't going on. But then I'd feel so bad, like, I would just feel so tired, like, lethargic, and then we'd end up getting to Mexico, and then we'd always have, like, a driver pick us up, and they'd have, like, Pacificos ready to go, and then we'd be drinking, and I just felt so
And it's
just
so hot there. You
yeah,
get
it's
off
just
the
so
plane and
hot,
you're
uncomfortable,
all messed up on alcohol or whatever. It just feels terrible.
exhausted, and then you just power through, and you never really felt rested because, like, the entire trips were just based around us drinking the entire time. We would literally, like, always just be drinking, and that's all we did, especially in Mexico, 'cause, we used to go to Sayulita a lot, so we'd have, like, a house, that my in-laws used to have, and we'd go there, and it would just be a free-for-all, and when we go into town, it would just be drinking, 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 and I feel like we didn't ever do anything that was really, like, giving back to ourselves and actually giving the necessary rest. Like, maybe, yes, I would get, like, a cheap massage on the beach or something like that, but it was never anything that was, like, nourishing for myself, which is crazy if you think about it. Yeah.
It is. Um,
Yes.
it definitely is crazy. And then I don't know how many times I will be drinking mango margaritas
Yeah.
that this are so good you can't even taste the alcohol, right? I'd be around the pool, it's hot, and
Yeah.
I think I'll have another one of those. Get so sick, and there's
Yeah.
times I think they do this here too in bars.
Mhm.
They give you their worst alcohol, in a
Mhm.
lot of places because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
And I know they have, like, in Mexico too, they've got, like, a tier system. Well, the more you tip,
Mhm.
the better alcohol you get. And so I'd be sure
Mhm.
I'd be tipping really big all the time,
Yeah.
because I don't get any gut rot alcohol, wanted the good stuff, so I
Yes.
didn't get sick, and then just start all over the next day, just just have day after day after day. Yeah, we have to come back to that one, because I found out you can't be on vacation, like, stay down there 60 days and make every single day a drinking vacation.
Right?
It's just both of us end up, getting sick, like, really sick when we were down there, probably
Yeah.
because you're so worn out and not eating right and just drinking and partying all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I look at it a little differently now.
Yeah, I know, right? It's
Uh-huh.
crazy. And so I just remembered, so Luke and I used to go with our like a group of friends to Sayulita, Mexico. So it's outside of Puerto Vallarta, like at least once a year with them. And it would be just a bunch of us, right? And I remember once we were at the pool and it's just this beautiful like development. Jules has been there
Mhm.
before. And we're all and we just like show up, all of us, we're ready. Like Luke's wearing his big Sonics jersey that he still wears it everywhere we go on like vacation. And this like couple was sitting there, all of a sudden they're like, there goes the peace and tranquility of this place. And I remember I was like, how dare they say that? I was like, it's so true. I would have said the same thing. But we would be, like, crazy. So, we ended up and I don't know if I've ever told you this. I might have told you guys this before. Oh, probably, because 'cause you've been there a few times, but we ended up there was this guy in Sayulita, his name was Darren, and we called him Captain Stabbin. I'm not gonna talk about, like, why we called him that, but we called him that, and he was just this, like, guy in town, out drunk, essentially, in town, like, and he was just, like, kinda dirty, he's American, you don't really know what the guy's doing. He's always do up he's just a shady character, and he actually owned a boat. And so we would hire this guy and this group of guys that like Pablo is one of the guys' names. I don't really remember. This is years ago before kids. And we'd go on this crazy ass captain. And he was like literally like drinking tequila out of the bottle. And we'd go on this boat with this guy. It was insane. Looking back, like, why would we do this? And I remember at one point there's these islands called the Marianas Islands, and there's places where you do not go. And he let all of the guys go swim through these caves,
Oh my gosh.
and they had to literally there's these caves, and to get to the other side, they had to, like, swim under the water and go back up, and the waves were so bad, the guys, like, almost got stuck out there. Luckily, nothing happened, but this captain was just, like, so reckless, like, it was insane, and we were doing crazy stuff, and I remember at one point, the guy was, like, bringing out, like, cocaine and stuff, and I've never done anything like that, and I have to think it's because of the DARE program back in, like, elementary school growing up, I loved my DARE bear, but I remember and some like, people were, like, doing cocaine with this, like, guy that, like, no idea who this guy was, like, Captain Stabbin, and I look back and I'm like, "What was I thinking?" And the whole time I, like, I knew, like, I was like, "This is wrong," but yet, it's like I never questioned it, and we went out with this guy multiple times, Jules, like, because we would go back pretty often, and so we would just find the guy in town every time we came into town, and we thought it was just, like, the best time, and now looking back, I'm like, "I'm out of my mind." Like, I'm so glad that we're all safe and nothing freaking
And
happened to
we're all
us.
alive, right? Um,
Because drinking and partying, and I always wanted to be the fun party girl, and drinking. It's like, let's
yeah.
just do it, and it's like that common sense, like, you feel it, like that intuition, like, "This is wrong," and then you're like, "It's fine. It's fine. We're young. It's fine." But what the hell? Like,
I
oh my god.
I used to tell my kids this and myself too. If something feels wrong, it probably is wrong. So just back it.
Yes.
Just go home, back out of it. If it
Ugh.
feels a little bit wrong, probably is. So, that's a good thing to go by. Jamie, you invited us down, Todd and I down there for our 25th anniversary, wedding anniversary
Yeah.
years ago. And you guys took us out on that boat with the same captain. And we went
Oh my god, we did? I don't
to
god,
we
I feel
went
like my
in those underwater caves and everything.
Babin!
Yes.
Yes. Are you sure was it Crazy Captain or was it the Chica Loca, the nice boat? It was a shady boat. Shady
I
boat?
it was kind of
A shady
shady.
boat.
But I can
Okay, then
remember
it was
I can
definitely because
remember Todd
yeah.
and Luke talking about this crazy captain. And,
Yeah.
like, Todd and I were talking about it too. He said, "What were we thinking?" Because, I'm not a strong swimmer anyway, and I was drunk and on pills, basically.
Yeah.
And said, "You wanna go out to the caves?" And sure, before when I wasn't drunk, I'd say, "No, I'm good right here." But, "Oh, no," I jump right in the water and, struggled the whole time. And these guys are, trying to help everybody and took
Yeah.
me to those caves. And I honestly thought I was gonna drown out there because you have to
My
go
god.
under the water in those caves to get back up on the other side. So your head is under the water.
Yes. You
Um,
did that? How come I
I
don't
did.
remember this? I must have blocked this out, girlfriend. But was that when you said you weren't drinking and you were drinking the entire time? Were you sneaking it? Because I remember we
No,
went at one point and you
no.
weren't drinking. Okay.
That was a long time ago, like
Okay.
12
That
years
was
ago?
like okay,
Think
probably
something like
'cause
that?
yeah.
No,
Oh
that
my
one
god, I
no, I
didn't
was definitely didn't care if people knew I was drinking back then.
I took you on Captain Stabbin's boat?
I'm pretty
That's
sure it was,
crazy.
but
Oh,
I just remember Luke talking to Todd about it, the crazy
oh my
captain.
god.
So,
Crazy Captain Stabbin'. It's crazy. But now I go like, now it's like, I would never
I
do
wouldn't either.
anything like that. I'm not a big ocean person, to be honest, anyways. It's not I don't like not being able to see in the deep, dark sea what's underneath me, but I would usually, like, stay on the boat, but man, it was shady, it was gross, and then we'd also, like, right when we get into town, we get pitchers of margaritas, and we would just pass them around and share them, and it's like and I hated margaritas. I was always a beer girl, but I would just suck it up and take the shots, and at one point, we did a taco truck this is the worst idea ever, we did a taco truck tour, it was my idea, where we were
A
like
taco truck
we
tour?
taco truck tour, so we so in Sayulita, we went around, so we'd be drinking beers, we get the big we call them those big 40 ouncers, like 40 boats we call them or something like that, and you'd just be, like, drinking these, what did we call those? I can't remember the name of them. I'll have to ask Luke later, but we'd get these huge ass, the 40 ouncers, and then we'd walk around, and then we would do a taco truck tour where we'd go eat at, like, 10 taco trucks and get a taco at
Ugh,
each place. Let's just say that is a terrible idea to do that in Mexico, especially when you're drinking.
it sounds terrible, actually, really sounds awful. Just thinking about
Oh
that
my god.
combination for one thing, and then being drunk too. Like, I'll have a death wish or something.
I don't know, and here's one of the things too, because now we go and we stay in all-inclusive resorts with the kids because it's like, we don't wanna deal with, like, cooking and all that. I don't get sick anymore because we used to get that what, like, Montezuma's Revenge or whatever
Uh-huh.
the heck it's called, where you'd be, like, waking up and you'd be, like, spinning and just wanting throwing up, and it was awful, like, and it would take you out for a day. I remember when we were in Mexico with you guys, I got that, and then Todd got stung by the jellyfish,
Oh, yeah.
and you guys were, like, pounding on the door, and I was, like, so sick. But I honestly think that was because of, like, bad beers I've had there, and I've
Mhm.
never been sick. None of us had too. Luke does drink a little bit on vacation now, which is really funny. I'll tell you that in a minute about a story that Charlotte said to him, but I feel like now I it's totally different for me. So, I don't get sick anymore, and I feel good, which is great, and we'll talk about tips and tricks on how to have your first alcohol-free vacation because it was really hard for me at first. But Jules, like, so you spent a lot of time in Mexico.
Yes.
Like, so, couple months every year or so, and so, what was it so for you, you said it was just, like, a lot of drinking or anything like that.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
like, is there anything that you regret before? Is there anything you wanna talk about as far as because 'cause you're going on March 6th or something like
March
that
3rd, yes.
soon, March 3rd for your 70th birthday, so you're gonna be there all of March and all of April, and we're gonna come visit, which is great, but is there anything that, like, that you regret from before and, like, kind of how you wanna do it differently? I would just love to hear it.
It will be much different this time.
Mhm,
Things I would do differently. Todd's not drinking now either, so
mhm.
we just don't plan to drink alcohol when we're in Mexico. Like I said,
Yeah,
when you're doing it for 60 days straight because you're on vacation,
mhm,
that's what you're supposed to do. Especially at my age and at our age at 70, it takes a long time to recover from these things.
yeah,
Because just to feel better the next day, you just have to drink because you feel so awful. I mean, in my
mhm.
case, and I think Todd's the same way, and he just decided it's not worth it. So
I know.
there's none of that. It's still going to be a party, kind of fun thing, but it's not going to be
Yeah,
all revolving around drinking. And I would say, just general shout out, I think it's a bad idea to buy drugs on the beach in Mexico,
okay.
um, of any kind, and I didn't think anything about doing that when I was there years ago.
Yeah.
Someone said, "Hey, what do you want? Anything you want, we'll get it for you." And
Coca.
anything. I mean,
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
yeah. And what was I thinking? I mean,
So you bought drugs on the beach? What kind of stuff
yes.
did you buy on the beach? I wanna hear.
What
I
kind?
mean, we've definitely bought weed. Like, weed is something we've done before
Uh,
for sure.
well, do you want to count the ones that are from my hairdresser on the beach? She used to give me pain pills and
Oh
muscle
my god.
relaxers. She used to get them for me, and as I was like, I tip her giant tips. And then somebody I was out at the beach kind of by myself, and some guy came up and wanted to see if I wanted to buy some clothes, and I said, "No, I'm good, I'm good." And he goes, "How about some Coke?" And I said, "Coke?"
They always do that. Just so you warning. Yes,
Yeah.
they do that.
And so I said, "No, I'm good, I'm good." And then I thought, "Oh, why not? I'm on vacation."
What, you did coke
It
in
wasn't
Mexico?
Coke. It wasn't even Coke, but
Oh
I spent
god.
like 60
Mom, that could
bucks.
have been like
60 bucks
fentanyl or
fentanyl.
something.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
Jesus.
like I said, we all have a death wish or what?
You're my mom.
I
You shouldn't be
know.
doing that. You're a grandma for crying
I
out
tell you on
loud.
this
Oh,
podcast. But that was,
Jesus.
many years ago, but still, I look back on that and yes, I can't even tell you how much I regret doing that.
Oh my god. Well, is it because you were more like because you were in Mexico, you were, like, drinking, doing pills, and it was just kind of like you were just in a kind of an addict stage, right? Like, where you're literally just
Well,
doing
yeah, and like
whatever
I
and
always
not really
say, we were
thinking
on
of
vacation. It's
it?
like you don't do things like that all the time when you're at home and you're working and you've got family. And so,
Totally.
but that's how I always viewed things. You're on vacation, you're not hurting anybody but yourself, of course.
Oh my
So
god.
why not give it a try? And I thought that could have been cartel, you know,
Yeah. Oh, there's cartels everywhere down there.
everywhere.
Like,
And so that
yeah.
easily, I look back on it, could have been a cartel member right there, and I could be right now in Mexican prison for life. But the stupid things
Jules,
like that, just
thank
I just
God.
it's unimaginable when I look at things, how
Holy
I
shit.
view things now. And
Yeah.
I mean, this tape plays in my head, all these things that I've done throughout the years, like that, for example. And
Yeah.
it's a huge one. It's like,
Yeah.
just go ahead and buy Coke on the beach. You don't know this person. And
Holy
what do you,
shit.
and like I said, it was not the time back then. Fentanyl
Yeah.
was not that prevalent, I guess you'd say, like it is
Yeah.
now. But could easily got arrested by the cartel
Oh my
in a
gosh.
second.
Well, that's that's crazy. And so I'll tell you about my little like thing. And so I don't do weed anymore, but I did for like several years. And when we were in Mexico, this was before kids, we bought well, we'd always like get some from somebody selling on the beach, just like you did. But there was this guy that was selling these donuts, like, and we knew they were weed donuts and this big. And I remember I took like a bite out of this thing and I was literally tweaking out, like, in fetal position from this weed donut for, like, 5 hours on the beach. I remember I was, like, in a chair, I was, like, so out of it, and then I ended up, like, going back to the house and napping. Like, it wiped me out. It was and it was, like, a bite of a donut. I'm like, "This dude is selling" because everybody talked about the donut guy, like, the weed donut guy, and everybody's buying. I'm like, "Probably, like, college kids here. God, if a high school kid" like and I was like, at that point, I was, like, smoking weed, like, pretty often, especially in, like, Mexico and stuff, so, like, I would say I would be okay. I was literally, like I was so messed up from that.
Sounds like
Like,
you
I always
sounds like
talk
you were
about that.
poisoned.
I was like, "I can never do an edible ever again because it completely." I remember, like, birds were like, chirping, and I was, like, literally losing my shit, like, on this chair. I was, like, mortified.
Don't
I
you
was
think
like,
that
"Oh
sounds a
my."
lot more than just pot? Just
I
regular
don't even
pot?
know,
Maybe you've
man.
been
I don't
poisoned or
know.
what?
That's the thing too, and when you do buy things down there, you're like, "Oh, it might be laced with something," but you're
Well,
like, "Ah, it's probably
I
fine."
would
Oh
definitely
my
think there was
god.
something special in that pot. I mean, that just sounds unbelievable.
Oh my god, it was crazy. So I needless to say, I don't do that anymore. I'm like
Oh.
such a different person on vacation. I did want to say though too, because we've been to Mexico with you guys a lot, and like especially like last year before you were okay, and you would go like you could go away for a long time. Like all of a sudden you'd be like, "Where's Jules again?" Jules, you disappear constantly, and
I
so
did?
you're disappearing constantly, and that was like last year you were doing that, and so we'd always just be like, "Okay, where'd you go again? Where'd you go?" And we're always like, "She's up to no good up there." And that was always happening. And I've never called you out on that, but I'm calling you out live on this podcast right now.
I don't
But
remember doing anything
you always
shady,
disappear.
then. I don't remember. I mean, I thought I was pretty low key last time we
Or you're
went.
like you're probably like maybe you're just going up and sneaking some beers because
Yeah, maybe
like
having
I
a
was
drink or
always
something.
because I was always very sensitive to that, right?
Yeah.
So it always
I
like, and
mean,
I think that's
that
before we
definitely could come
started.
in.
Yeah, and that was before we started going down this path together, and like and you went alcohol free, and we're in a very different place. But like that was always like something's like, what's Jules is up to something again? What's Jules doing up there? You never
I was
know with
probably doing
Jules.
laundry for everybody. That's all.
That we actually just said, we're like, "Yes, we get to come," because we're going back to see you guys in April, and I'm like, "We get to bring less stuff because Jules will do our
That's right.
laundry." So maybe I won't question your motives this time or what you're doing.
Well, I probably won't give you any reason to. Doing laundry, having a drink, doing laundry, having a drink.
See, well, remember we went to the spa, so this is last
Oh
November.
gosh.
And, oh my god, the spa was great, by the way, much better than the one we just went to, but
Good.
it's like we took Jules. Jules hasn't been doing self-care ever until recently, so that's your thing, and so we went and I, like, treated you probably for Christmas present, whatever, and, we went and just had a massage, and it's so affordable down there, it's amazing, but you get there, like, an hour early, they put you in a sauna, you get in, like, this jacuzzi, and then have, like, a cold, like, plunge, and then you get to get another hot like, it was this whole thing, and then they give you tea, and, like, snacks, and then we went and had our massages, and I just told this in the club the other day because it's so funny, and then all of a sudden so we get our massages, they're probably, like, 50-minute massages, and then I, like, come out and I love a massage, I always have, and so I come out, I've done it a lot, and I'm like, "Where's Jules? Like, where's Jules?" And, like, 30 minutes later, I'm like, "Where the is Jules?" And I'm, like, asking the lady, I'm like, "Who my mom is?" And Jules they tell her massage is done, but Jules doesn't really understand. So she lays there and like goes back and takes a nap. And she's just like laying in the room for like 30, 40 minutes. And I'm just sitting out there. I was like, Jules, like, what are you doing?
Well, I thought someone was going to come back in, so I was just waiting for them. I guess I took a little nap too.
Oh my God. It was so
That was
funny.
really
Oh my
fun,
God.
though. By the way.
Oh my God, we have to do it again too, because that was so fun. I love it. But I'm all about it. And so that's one of the things too. So let's talk about like, let's transition into sober travel. Okay. So you are going. So I want to be honest with you. My first sober, like real travel trip was when I went to Hawaii. It was about 6 months right after Christmas into my alcohol free journey. So I quit in 2022 and we went to Hawaii. We stayed at this beautiful resort on is it the Big Island, I think? I can't remember. Yeah, and took us about 6 hours to get there. At the time, I think Charlotte was, what, 2 years old, Edward was, like, 4 years old, so it was a lot, especially for traveling with them, and so it was my first trip, I'm like, "I got it," and at that point, I just started my sober Instagram account, like, I was, like, in Lighthouse community, I was, like, running meetings, and I was, like, really into it, but the closer we got to the resort and it was an hour drive once we got the rental car. It was a long freaking day, and I started to get really stressed and agitated. I prepared, I did all the things, but I was like, "Should I drink? Should I drink?" And I walk into this beautiful resort, and right inside the lobby is this like beautiful bar, my bar, it's like my bar. View of the beautiful ocean, and I wanted to drink so bad, but, like and I was like, "Luke, should I drink?" And he's like, "No." And he, like luckily, he's super supportive and went upstairs, and I got through it. I think I posted on my Instagram that was, like, brand new, and I just somehow I got through it, and then after that was a lot easier. I, like, was the gym was amazing too. They had a gym with a view, like, and I just like really got a massage and I really started doing the things, but it was really freaking hard. And so, and I felt really strong. So the key is to prepare for these things. You have to start like really preparing and you have to make sure you have like a sober toolkit ready and like really just plan for it because it can get you. It can get you hard. And so that's what I want to talk to you about because I know you said, I think recently in the club that you're starting to get a little nervous. It's 2 months in Mexico. Everything's very accessible there. I mean, there's alcohol everywhere, there's pills everywhere, there's cocaine. like
Apparently,
I'm
yes.
pretty confident you're never doing that again
Never,
there.
never.
So how are you feeling about that? Like, I mean, does it kind of change day to day? Like, how are you feeling in general about your trip? Because
Well,
it's a big trip and you're turning 70, by the way, which is so exciting.
it is
Yeah.
exciting. I'm kinda looking forward to the whole new thing to, Mexico, going to Mexico with, being alcohol free. I think there's gonna be we'll do a lot more things, like you were saying, a lot more fun things instead of just laying at the pool. And we always do things anyway, but not our priorities be, saving our chair down there and making sure we hit happy hour for one
Yeah.
margaritas at happy hour. Like one day I think, well, I'm not going to drink and I don't want to. I don't have any desire to drink. And
Yeah.
then the next day I'll think, this mango margaritas sound really good right now. Um,
Yeah.
so I have thought about it quite a bit. And
Yeah.
I went through, a whole year of holidays with no drinking, and
Amazing.
and that went well, and I never felt bad about that, but, yeah, it's gonna be different, I think. I think I'm gonna
Yeah.
be drinking, margaritas without tequila in 'em. I still have go there, I'll get my 1 mango margarita. Besides that, there's nothing but sugar, and so sugar is poison to my system. For one thing, I have rheumatoid arthritis, so it's really bad for
Yeah.
me, and so I might think twice about that too, but just drinking those things all day in the heat, it
Mm.
doesn't sound fun, and
So you're
so
gonna have a virgin mango margarita.
exactly.
Okay. That sounds great. Okay.
I'm not really worried about it, but I feel
Mhm.
cautious, and I feel like I need to be prepared.
Yeah.
Bring things that I'm used to and I'm comfortable with, and books and my ear or my headphones too, and my earbuds
Mhm.
and things that I've done or I'll bring with me in the last year that have
Mhm.
helped me so much. Learning
I
from
love
you
that.
and everybody at the club, your club. It makes a huge difference when you're
Mhm.
prepared, I think. And I don't
Mhm.
really have not too worried about it yet. So I think I'm more at the
Okay.
excited stage right now because it's getting so
Yeah.
close.
Yeah. I think you're thinking about it the right way and it's you're gonna bring things that are comfortable for you and that, help you through. And I know journaling's being a big thing. So like bringing a journal would be like really good. You're gonna have your headphones. I think also like the key is like we can record the podcast while you're there, right? Because we're
Yes.
gonna have to because we have all these crazy listeners. I mean, a
We might
few,
as
at
well.
least a few listeners. So we can like with our listeners and then also like meetings, right? I think the really cool thing about what we can do now is we have online meetings, which are really cool. So you can like call in, and I know we're talking about you hosting a meeting, right? Which
Mhm.
would be fabulous, and I'm so excited. And so I think those things too, like when I recently went to Mexico right after Christmas, I was kicking off dry January. I was doing coaching meetings, and it really helped me stay focused, and it just gave me that energy. And I was so excited to be there and be like alcohol free because it's like I still had that, right? And I was still able to be able to like talk to the women in the community and like kind of work on those things. And then also know like, oh, everybody else is drinking at the pool. I'm literally running these like meetings or like joining these meetings. Like, how freaking cool is that? So that was really
Yeah,
huge. So I would
really.
say like sticking with the community, right? Because even though you're going to Mexico, there's internet there. You can still do the things, right?
Oh, yeah,
And just
definitely.
kind of
That
yeah,
that ha has helped me tremendously. Without all the support from you
yeah,
and all these amazing ladies and these women in this group, I
yeah,
don't know that I would have made it and stuck with it because I don't have any desire to drink at all anymore.
yeah. That's
I
so
think
good.
about it. I think about a glass of wine and it makes me kind of get queasy, even beer.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that is,
Sure.
but
Mhm.
it's a good thing. For some reason, it's just meant to be, I guess.
Yeah, that's true too. Because I remember I texted you in Mexico and I was like, I don't even wanna, like, drink a warm beer, like, I used to drink, like I remember at one point, like, when we were drinkers, we went on this little Ponga boat, tiny boat, which, by the way, I don't like the deep ocean, which I've said, I'm terrified the whole time, but we accidentally bought beer that had salt and lime in it,
Ugh,
and then we were drinking, like, this nasty warm beer because, like, it ended up getting hot. Like, ugh, so gross. I'm like, "Why?" It's not even refreshing. It's not even refreshing.
no.
Yeah, and so make sure you have the drink. So I would say like too, like especially like at the resort I went to, they had Heineken Zeros, which were big, but it was really funny. I'd get some and then I would be in the room and I'd be like, oh, there's like half of it. I didn't even drink it all. But I really was like, I wish I would have actually had different drinks and I would have like maybe gone to a store because we just stayed at the resort the whole time. We didn't even leave to be honest. I was really just drinking Diet Coke and Pepsi, which Diet Pepsi, which I love, but I wish I and pineapple juice. So I was trying to just drink some of those fresh juices, and I love the fruit down there. It's so good. But yeah, and so if you guys go to Costco or you go to like the big mega market that they have like by the where you guys stay, like you can get some really good drinks too, and just like have everything handy. Or like I know you're big into iced teas and like things like that too. I think that will help a lot.
Yeah, I plan to be very prepared
Yeah.
as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot about what I need to do in the
Yes.
last year, and
Hmm.
what I won't do anymore for myself that,
Yeah.
isn't good for me. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying I could be totally perfect and, anybody could slip up. I mean, especially on a big vacation like this, but that's
Yeah.
not my plan at all. It hasn't even occurred to me really that much.
That's good. And I think one of the things too, and like this is for people listening that maybe are like nervous because a lot of the times when we're early in our journeys, we future trip, we're like, I have this trip coming up. Oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? And so I think this is really good for people to kind of hear like what your plan is kind of and what like I typically do myself. And so I think also like you said you're getting excited about it. And I
Mhm.
think like the part is like really visualizing what you want this trip to be without alcohol, right? Like how good you're gonna feel. Like what is your daily routine gonna be? And I would think for like 2 months, you're gonna have a daily routine. Like, and I know Todd, your husband, is very much into like walking on the beach
Mhm.
every day. And I know last time you were like finding like shells on the
Oh, yeah, that's
beach
a
and
big
like
thing.
just having this routine that kind of keeps you like anchored too and just kind of that and like just really getting excited and visualizing all about it and all the new things that maybe you guys can do that you wouldn't have done before and then just also like how are you going to feel if you're really getting that really good rest and
Mhm.
also when we're going to come visit you too and then feeling so good and
I
like
can't wait.
relaxed and
So
energized when
glad.
like the kiddos come and we're gonna have Easter there, which is gonna be
Mhm.
so fun. And I know the dinner is gonna be incredible, like at the resort that we're staying at. So I'm really excited about that. But I'm excited for you. I think it's gonna be really good. But it sounds like you know what you want. You're excited about it. You're planning ahead. You're going to continue to lean into the community, having some sort of routine and structure. And then just really like you and Todd are really like doing this together. And like the key too is like he's not drinking, you're not drinking, and it's a lot easier when
Mhm.
your partner's not drinking. Seriously, because it can be really hard for women that when their partners are still drinking. And so like I feel very
That's
lucky
true.
and I think you do too that we have partners that are supportive of us
Oh,
being on this
definitely.
journey. And they're also at the point where like we're getting old, man. We don't want to feel like crap anymore. Like
True.
and it's okay to outgrow alcohol. Like it's normal. And so I'm excited for you. I think it's going to be so great.
So, yeah, I wanna be around for my grandkids, my kids, as long as possible and try to stay as healthy as possible. Drinking poison and popping poisonous pills is not gonna
Mhm.
extend my life, you know? Uh,
Yeah.
I think I've kinda had 9 lives anyway, to be honest. I think it's
Yeah.
just past time for me to just I'm done with it. So
I love it. I love it.
and thank you, daughter, helping me so much.
Well, I'm excited for you, and I can't wait to expend our first vacation together, both sober and clear and amazingly alcohol free, my friend.
And don't forget your music if you're going someplace.
Oh, music. Okay, let's give some tips. I'll go through some quick tips. And this
Okay.
is also, I can do let me do some airport tips too. So for the airport, because I'm actually going to the airport tomorrow. And so I'll likely post some things on Instagram. I also kind of just like to be zen at the airport. So I don't know if I'll be on my phone too much. But when you navigate the airport, you need to decide beforehand. Like when other if maybe you're going a group of friends, you need to know exactly what you're gonna drink, right? And also make the decision, I'm not drinking and it's just not an option for me before you go. Okay. You gotta work on that mindset. And it's just not
Mhm.
an option for me. Okay. Also, like we said, visualize what the airport's gonna be just like you would on that vacation. Because like we said earlier on, it doesn't feel great to be at the airport 6, 7 AM. I see a lot of people doing it now. I pay attention now. It's like I used to be that person, I used to just pound them. Sometimes you get that free shot with that big beer. It doesn't feel good. It does not feel good, and then you're literally powering through your whole vacation, and you have to come back after vacation still needing rest. That is not a vacation, okay? And it sucks going back to work when you feel like shit. Also, first thing, grab yourself a treat. I buy books now. I used to buy books, never read them, but But buy snacks. Maybe it's like you get your iced coffee, whatever it may be, gummy bears, ice cream, People magazines, Us Weeklies. Remember those? Oh
Oh,
my gosh.
yes.
Jules loves the National Enquirer. Anything that just gets you excited and treat yourself, okay? Stock up on a sober book or a podcast, put them in your earbuds, put in your earbuds, have that sobriety just coaching in your ear the entire time. That really helps. Walk. Get up and walk down the aisles of the airplane. Walk before around your gate. It just helps quieting that noise and just kind of having a goal. I did that right away, like, when I did a solo trip, like, pretty early on, I just was walking loops around the airport and getting my steps in. It really helped. Let's see, just remember your why. Like, why are you doing this in the first place? Like, it's okay to feel uncomfortable, and you're gonna feel uncomfortable if this is your first trip, like, at the airport and then vacation, but it gets easier and easier, and the whole point of being alcohol free and being on this journey is to get uncomfortable, and you gotta be okay with the discomfort. It's just part of the journey, and again, visualize yourself landing, right? Like, how good are you gonna freaking feel? And then how good are you gonna be on your vacation? And so also, so that's kind of like the airport things. Also, I'm big, I talk about it, I get nervous. I do a lot of breath work on the plane. So you could also have a meditation downloaded by the Wi-Fi too. Also, another thing too, if you're on the airplane, organize your photos, delete photos. Gosh, I have thousands of photos on my freaking phone, especially because I'm on Instagram. I have so much stuff on there. It's like annoying. I'm like, that's a time killer here. So just do something to keep your hand and your mind busy, right? Maybe it's a crossword puzzle. I used to love those, right? Anything just to keep you occupied. And then on vacation, stick to your daily sparkle habits. Have your boundaries ready to go. If you're with a group of people, set that expectation. Have conversations with people who support you. Plan morning activities. Wake up early. You get up, you walk on that beach. Do your journaling, whatever it may be, right?
Definitely.
Take a lot of take pictures, be the photographer, get excited, sunsets. Oh my god, I used to miss sunsets. Sunrises, hello, when you're up with that coffee in the morning or tea, ooh, it feels good. I love breakfast on a vacation. It's like my happy treat.
Mornings the
Um,
best on the beach. Early morning. Uh,
I know, and then also reframe it. So, like, what do you get to enjoy because you're not hungover? Like, you miss out on so much when you're drinking. Like, so what do you get to do? And think about this experience to be fully present. The sights, the food, the mocktails, the activities, good night's sleep, sunsets, sun walks on the beach. You can totally do it. Plan some fun activities. To be honest, not a big activity gal. I'm more of a hang around the beach,
we are
hang out the
too.
pool gal, but surfing, hiking, go to the spa, dude, treat yourself because you're saving money. I promise you that when you don't drink,
Definitely.
you can treat yourself, facial, massage, whatever it may be. Maybe it's the collecting seashells. There's so much to do, and then rest and relax. Vacations are supposed to recharge you and not deplete you. So those are kind of my tips. And I know this is going a little bit longer than we typically like to have the pod, but Jules, what else would you like to add? Anything else?
Gosh, you covered so much. I think remembering why, like how you call it, is huge. Why am I doing this? There's so many reasons, and that have already beneficial in just 1 year of being alcohol free. My health is better overall. My lab works is better. My liver is 100% now,
Yay.
which is shocking, really. I mean, it was several years ago that happened. Was it 14 years ago? 15 years ago when I had that
Yeah.
overdose? And it was in the hospital and went on dialysis. But I think there's so many reasons why. And I think about you kids and how
Mhm.
you've been so supportive. Even when I wasn't doing good, you're always there for me. And my grandkids. There's no you can't get that time back, you know? And I just feel like it's just what this part of my life is I'm focused on my family and things that are good for me and healthy for me. And it goes right on down the line. When you're doing the right things and you feel good about what you're doing, then even my little grandkids notice it, you know?
Yeah.
And when you're drinking and this and that, I don't think you realize how much they know,
Yeah.
really. And so it's just something I'm really looking forward to this part of my life. And hopefully being around, a few years longer with my kids and grandkids. That's it.
Oh.
So anyway, that's all I have, I guess.
Oh, I love it. That's so perfect. And you're going to have such an amazing time. And I'm excited to meet you. And it's going to be amazingly alcohol free.
That's right.
Yes, and so thank you for everybody for listening today. Please, if you would like to, please rate and review. We want to continue just to share our message with people that we think that would really resonate with our story, and we really just want to help inspire and let people know that, we can do hard things, and, being alcohol free is possible for even those that think it's not and who've tried over and over again. It is freaking possible because me and Jules are here and we're doing it and we're proving that it is possible. We know it's hard, but you got this, and keep going. So have a fabulous day, and we'll see you next time.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.